Let's step into that glistening world, leaving behind the concrete and the noise. The first thing that hits you, even before the visual splendor, is the symphony. The rain is softened to a distant drip, drip, drip. A percussive rhythm on a million different surfaces. A broad heliconia leaf. A hollow fallen log. A still pool of water now ringed with tiny concentric circles. It's not silence, but it's a silence of human noise, replaced by a natural cadence that our ancestors' brains evolved to recognize as safety. This auditory shift is the first cue to your nervous system you can stand down. But the true magic, the visual and biological spectacle, is in that glisten. Every leaf, from the towering canopy of the emergent trees down to the delicate filigree of fungi on the forest floor, is coated in a sheen of water. This isn't merely decorative. It's a masterclass in fluid dynamics and plant survival. The water beads and rolls because of microscopic nanostructures on the leaf surfaces, a phenomenon scientists call the lotus effect, designed to cleanse the plant of dust, spores, and pollutants. As you look up, the water acts as a billion tiny lenses, refracting the faint sunlight that struggles through the dense canopy above. This creates a prismatic effect, a shimmering, almost ethereal quality to the light, where beams don't slash down but diffuse into a soft, green glow. This specific quality of light, studies from places like the University of Melbourne suggest, reduces eye strain and cortisol production compared to the harsh, direct glare of urban environments. The color green itself, dominant in every conceivable shade, from the almost yellow of new shoots to the deep blackish green of ancient foliage, has a documented calming effect on the human psyche, lowering heart rate and promoting feelings of tranquility. The air you breathe is another potent medicine. After rain, the atmosphere is ionized. Negative ions, often called nature's vitamins, are abundant. These molecules, generated by the splashing of water, the flow of streams, and even the photosynthetic process itself, have been linked in research from institutions like the Columbia University Medical Center to improved mood, heightened alertness, and a decrease in symptoms of depression. You're not just breathing oxygen, you're breathing an aerosolized antidepressant. Then there's the smell. That iconic picture scent, the earthy perfume released when rain falls on dry soil, is exponentially more complex here. It's a blend of gourmet from activated soil bacteria, the volatile organic compounds released from crushed leaves and bark, and the essential oils from countless flowers and resins. Research published in the journal Nature indicates that these phytoncides, the airborne chemicals emitted by plants, do more than just smell good. When inhaled, they boost our natural killer, NK cell activity, a key component of our immune system's defense against infections and even cancer cells. So with every deep breath in this glistening arena, you are quite literally strengthening your body's own army. The ground beneath your feet is a spongy, resilient mattress of decomposing matter. This is the forest stomach, where fallen leaves, branches, and deceased creatures are broken down by an unimaginably vast network of fungi, insects, and microorganisms. This decomposition is what fuels the entire cycle. The death of one organism becomes the food for countless others, eventually rising back up as the nutrients in that glistening new leaf. It's a constant, humming cycle of decay and rebirth happening silently underfoot. The water itself is a character in this play. It gathers in bromeliads, those tank-like plants that cling to tree branches, creating entire miniature ecosystems for tree frogs, insect larvae, and even small crabs. It trickles down lianas like nature's own downspouts. It carves tiny rivulets in the soil, directing nutrients and seeds to new destinations. Hyper-efficient water distribution system means that in a tropical rainforest, very little is wasted. Every drop is captured, used, and recycled. And amidst this lushness, life thrives in absurd abundance. A neon-colored poison dart frog, its skin glistening with toxic alkaloids, hops across a wet log. A battalion of leafcutter ants marches in a precise line, each carrying a fragment of leaf many times its size. A fragment that will not be eaten, but used to cultivate a specific fungus in their underground nests, a testament to an agriculture practiced millions of years older than our own. High above, a toucan's raucous call echoes, its massive beak surprisingly agile as it plucks a berry. This is not a passive landscape. It is the most competitive real estate on the planet, where every organism, from the tallest tree to the smallest fungus, is engaged in a relentless, ingenious battle for light, space, and nutrients. The glisten after the rain is the arena's fresh coat of paint, signaling not an end, but a vibrant resurgence of activity. This is just the surface. The sensory overload is merely the doorway. What happens inside your brain and body when you immerse yourself in this environment is where the real life-altering data lies. Do not click away, because in the next section we're diving deep into the neuroscience of the rainforest, and I'll reveal a simple, zero-cost technique you can use anywhere to tap into this power. A technique that hundreds of my viewers have written to me about, calling it transformative. Hit that like button right now. If you're ready to unlock that knowledge, it helps this channel. Share this vital information with more people like you. And let's keep going. To understand why this rain-soaked forest feels so fundamentally different, we must journey beyond the scenery and into the very wiring of the human brain. We are biologically an animal out of place in the modern world. Our neurobiology was forged over millennia in environments that looked, sounded, and smelled much more like this tropical glade than a city street. When we enter such a space, we aren't just visiting nature, we are, in a very real sense, coming home. This is the core of the biophilia hypothesis, proposed by legendary biologist E.O. Wilson, which suggests humans possess an innate tendency to seek connections with nature and other forms of life. In the glittering aftermath of a forest rain, this connection is supercharged. Let's start with attention. Modern life bombards us with what psychologists call directed attention, the effortful, draining focus required to navigate traffic, answer emails, or scroll through social media feeds. This depletes a finite resource in our prefrontal cortex, leading to mental fatigue, irritability, and reduced willpower. The tropical forest, however, engages what is termed soft fascination or involuntary attention. The gentle movement of water droplets, the slow unfurling of a fern, the predictable yet complex patterns of light and shadow, these elements hold our attention without demanding it. They provide cognitive relief, allowing the brain's directed attention networks to rest and replenish. Studies using EEG and fMRI scans, such as those conducted at the University of Utah, show that after even short periods in natural settings, participants exhibit brainwave patterns associated with relaxation and meditative states, specifically an increase in alpha waves, and show improved performance on subsequent tasks requiring focus and creativity. This is not merely feeling relaxed. This is measurable neurological restoration. Now layer onto that the concept of fractals. Fractals are complex, self-repeating patterns found everywhere in nature, in the branching of trees, the vein structure of leaves, the rivulets of water on bark, the intricate architecture of a fern. Our visual systems are exquisitely adapted to process these natural fractal patterns with remarkable efficiency. Research from the University of Oregon's Architecture and Biology Lab has demonstrated that viewing mid-complexity fractals, exactly like those omnipresent in a rainforest, generates high levels of alpha wave activity in the brain and is associated with a significant stress reduction, sometimes as high as 60%. The glistening forest is essentially a massive, immersive fractal generator, providing a visual massage for your overworked brain. Then consider the psychological state of awe. The overwhelming scale, beauty, and complexity of a primary tropical forest, the realization that you are standing in a system that has evolved for millions of years, where a single tree can host as many distinct insect species as exist in all of North America, triggers the profound emotion of awe. Psychologists Asher Keltner and Jonathan Haidt define awe as the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your current understanding of the world. This feeling, often elicited by nature, has powerful effects. It shrinks the ego, reduces the focus on the self, and once personal worries are processed, termed the small self phenomenon. It promotes pro-social behaviors, increases critical thinking, and enhances life satisfaction. When you look up at a canopy dripping with water, knowing it houses a hidden universe of life, you are experiencing awe. Your brain is being recalibrated to think in broader, more connected terms. Furthermore, the forest engages all your senses in a coherent, non-threatening way, a state crucial for what is called mindfulness or present moment awareness. In therapy for anxiety and PTSD, a common symptom is dissociation, a feeling of being disconnected from one's body or surroundings. The forest fights this directly. The cool, moist air on your skin, the spongy give of the soil underfoot, the rich tapestry of sounds and smells, all this provide gentle, constant sensory feedback that anchors you firmly in the present, in your physical body, and in the reality of the environment. There is no past or future here. There is only the drip of water, the scent of petrichor, the sight of a jewel-like beetle navigating a glistening leaf. This is mindfulness in its purest, most accessible form, a form that requires no app, no mantra, just presence. Even the act of walking in such an environment, often termed forest bathing, from the Japanese practice, has distinct physiological benefits beyond a regular walk. Controlled studies in Japan, where this is a recognized public health strategy, have shown that forest bathing, compared to urban walks, leads to significantly lower concentrations of cortisol, the stress hormone, lower pulse rate, lower blood pressure, greater parasympathetic nervous system activity, the rest and digest system, and lower sympathetic nervous system activity, the fight or flight system. The combination of phytoncides, negative ions, fractal visuals, and soft fascination creates a holistic therapeutic intervention. Your body isn't just relaxing, it's shifting its entire operational mode. The immune boost from the phytoncides, the cardiovascular benefits from the relaxed state, and the cognitive reset from the attentional shift are not isolated effects. They're interconnected threads of a single, powerful biological response to an environment we were designed for. The modern world creates what author and journalist Richard Liu famously called nature deficit disorder, a suite of behavioral and psychological problems linked to a lack of time in nature. The tropical forest after rain is the ultimate antidote, a full system reboot that addresses the deficit at a neurological, physiological, and psychological level. Feeling the urge to experience this for yourself. You should. But I know not everyone can hop on a plane to the Amazon or Borneo tomorrow. That's why the next part is absolutely critical. I'm going to break down how you can create a powerful, scientifically backed microdose of this forest experience wherever you are, using principles of biophilic design and sensory engineering. It's a game changer for your daily routine. And it's something you can start implementing in the next 10 minutes. But I need you to do something for me. First, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. Why? Because the method I'll share is part of a deeper system, and I'll be posting follow-up videos with specific step-by-step guides to transform your home, your workspace, and your mindset. You don't want to miss those. Subscribe now. And let's continue. Given the overwhelming evidence, the logical next question is, how do we bring this power into our daily lives, especially if a tropical rainforest is continents away? The answer lies not in replication, but in translation, harnessing the core principles of that environment through biophilic design and intentional practice. This is where we move from passive appreciation to active, life-enhancing application. Let's start with sound. You can immediately capture a significant part of the forest's restorative effect through auditory channels. The soundscape of the post-rain forest, the irregular drip of water, the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant call of birds, the low hum of insects, is a specific acoustic profile known as boorish sound. Research from the World Health Organization and various audio neuroscience labs confirms that such natural soundscapes mask irritating, unpredictable urban noise, like traffic or construction, and promote relaxation and concentration. Curate a playlist or find a multi-hour YouTube video of high-fidelity tropical rainforest sounds specifically after rain. Use this not as background music, but as a focused auditory environment while working, reading, or sleeping. Invest in a good pair of noise-canceling headphones to create an immersive bubble. This simple act can lower your cortisol levels and improve cognitive function within minutes, as shown in a 2021 study published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, where participants exposed to natural sounds performed better on demanding cognitive tests. Next, address your visual field. Remember the power of fractals and green. If you have a window, position your desk or favorite chair to look out on greenery, even if it's just a tree or a garden. If you don't, this is crucial. Bring the fractal patterns indoors. Get houseplants with complex leaf structures, ferns, prayer plants, monster delicious. The Swiss cheese plant are perfect. Their care becomes a mindfulness practice in itself, connecting you to a living growth cycle. Use wall art or screensavers featuring high-resolution images of dense foliage, moss, or water droplets on leaves. The key is visual depth and organic complexity, not sterile geometric patterns. The lighting is equally important. Avoid harsh, cool white overhead lights. Use multiple warm-toned lamps to create pools of gentle, diffused light, mimicking the forest canopy's filtered glow. You can even use a projector to cast slow-moving, abstract fractal or forest canopy patterns on a wall or ceiling, a technique used in therapy rooms and high-end spas to induce calm. Now let's talk about the most powerful and often overlooked sense, smell. This is your direct line to the limbic system, the brain's emotional and memory center. You can harness the petrichor effect. Purchase a high-quality essential oil diffuser and use pure essential oils that replicate the forest's olfactory profile. Look for blends or single oils like vetiver for the deep, earthy, wet root smell, cedarwood or sandalwood for the bark, and heartwood, pine, or cypress for the resinous, clean aroma, and a touch of gum, if you can find it, the quintessential rain scent. A study from the University of Northumbria found that the smell of rosemary can enhance memory, while lavender is proven to reduce anxiety. Creating your own forest rain scent blend and diffusing it during work or relaxation sessions can trigger the same physiological responses associated with being in nature. Don't forget touch. Incorporate natural textures into your home. A rough-hewn wooden desk, a smooth river stone as a paperweight, a wool or cotton throw with an organic texture. The tactile feedback from natural materials is grounding. Even something as simple as walking barefoot on grass or soil in a local park. A practice called earthing or grounding has preliminary research suggesting it can reduce inflammation and improve sleep by allowing the body to absorb negative electrons from the Earth's surface. Then there's the practice of micro-immersion. You don't need a week-long retreat. A 20-minute dedicated forest bath in a local park where you leave your phone behind and intentionally engage all your senses, touching the bark of a tree, closely observing the patterns on a leaf, listening to the birds can yield measurable benefits, as per the Japanese research. Schedule it like a critical business meeting. Furthermore, cultivate a noticing habit on your commute or walk. Actively seek out and note the natural elements that persist even in urban settings. The moss growing in a crack in the pavement, the pattern of clouds the shape of a tree against the sky. This habit of directed, appreciative attention to nature trains your brain to seek out and engage with restorative stimuli, effectively making you more resilient to stress throughout the day. Finally, consider the humidity and air quality. The forest air is moist and ion-rich, while a full-scale humidifier and ionizer can help. Even a small desktop humidifier with a few drops of your forest essential oil blend can transform the feel of your immediate workspace. The goal is not to build a greenhouse in your living room, but to create sensory portals or nudges that consistently pull your nervous system back toward that restorative forest state baseline. By strategically layering these elements: sound, sight, smell, touch, and intentional practice, you construct a personal ecosystem. This isn't about escapism, it's about biohacking your environment to support your innate biological needs. The data from environmental psychology is clear. Spaces designed with these principles led to higher reported well-being, increased productivity in offices by up to 15%, faster recovery rates in hospitals, and improved learning outcomes in schools. You are essentially designing a habitat for your optimal functioning. Implementing even one of these ideas can start a shift. But to truly lock in the transformation, you need to understand the long-term game, the cumulative impact this has on your health, creativity, and even your relationships over months and years. That's what we're covering next. And I'll share compelling long-term studies and personal testimonies that will convince you this is a lifelong practice worth committing to. Before we move on, if this video is providing you value, if you're learning something new about how to reclaim your well-being, please take a second to share it with one person. Share with a friend who's stressed, a family member who loves nature, or a colleague who could use a mental reset. Sharing is how we grow this community of well-being. Now, let's talk about your future. Committing to this connection with nature, whether through actual immersion or through the translated principles we just discussed, is not a one-off wellness trend. It's a long-term investment in the compound interest of your physical and mental capital. The data on long-term, regular engagement with natural environments paints a picture so compelling it should be considered non-negotiable preventative health care. Let's look at the longitudinal studies. Research tracking individuals over decades, such as the famous Whitehall 2 studies in the UK and ongoing work at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, has consistently found a strong correlation between regular access to green spaces and reduced risk of a staggering array of chronic diseases. These include cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, premature mortality from all causes, and importantly, mental health disorders like depression and anxiety. A seminal 2019 study published in Scientific Reports, analyzing data from nearly 20,000 people in the UK, concluded that spending at least 120 minutes per week in nature, whether in one long trip or several shorter visits, was associated with significantly higher levels of good health and psychological well-being. The threshold effect was clear. No significant benefit was gained below 120 minutes, but benefits scaled up at that point. This isn't just correlation, mechanistic pathways explain it. The chronic stress reduction from regular nature exposure lowers allostatic load, the cumulative wear and tear on the body from chronic stress. High allostatic load is a key driver of inflammation, which is the common soil for most modern chronic diseases. By regularly resetting your stress response system through practices like forest bathing, you are directly reducing systemic inflammation. The immune-boosting effects of phytoncides aren't a short-term spike. A series of Japanese studies show that a weekend trip to a forest area increased natural killer cell activity and anti-cancer proteins for over a week, and monthly trips maintain this elevated level of immune function. Imagine the compounded effect over a year, a decade. You are essentially conducting regular maintenance on your body's defense systems. From a cognitive and creative standpoint, the long-term benefits are equally profound. Creativity isn't a mysterious gift. It often relies on the brain's default mode network, DMN, which is most active when we are not focused on a specific external task, precisely the state induced by soft fascination in nature. Regular engagement allows the DMN to integrate information, make novel connections, and solve problems in the background. History is littered with examples of breakthroughs occurring during walks in nature. For the modern knowledge worker, this translates to sustained innovation and problem-solving capacity. Moreover, the attention restoration gain protects against burnout, a state of chronic emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion. By giving your directed attention network a daily or weekly chance to replenish, you build cognitive resilience. There's also the profound impact on what psychologists call executive function, the set of mental skills that include working memory, flexible thinking, and self-control. These are the skills essential for success in any complex endeavor. Studies on children with ADHD, for example, show that activities in green settings significantly reduce symptoms and improve concentration more effectively than activities in built environments. For adults, this means improved decision-making, better emotional regulation, and greater capacity for long-term planning. On a social and emotional level, the awe and small self-perspective fostered by nature have lasting effects. They cultivate humility, gratitude, and a sense of being part of a larger whole. This combats the narcissism and isolation often bred by digital, self-focused cultures. People who regularly experience awe report higher levels of life satisfaction and are more generous and cooperative in economic games designed to measure pro-social behavior. In the long run, this makes for better partners, parents, friends, and community members. Your relationships benefit from your increased patience, empathy, and capacity for joy. Furthermore, this practice builds what resilience researchers call psychological flexibility, the ability to adapt to stressors, to pivot when circumstances change, and to endure hardship without breaking. The forest itself is the ultimate teacher of resilience. It is a system of constant competition, death, and rebirth. A giant tree falls, creating a light gap, and instantly erased. Begins among saplings to claim that precious sunlight. Fungi decompose the fallen giant, returning its nutrients to the cycle. Nothing is wasted. Every ending is a beginning. Internalizing this perspective that loss, change, and challenge are part of a larger, productive cycle is incredibly powerful for navigating life's inevitable difficulties. Finally, there's an existential or spiritual dimension that, while harder to quantify, is reported consistently by long-term practitioners. It fosters a sense of meaning and connection that transcends the individual. In a world often characterized by alienation, finding a sense of belonging within the web of life is a potent antidote to existential anxiety. This isn't about religion per se, but about a deep, empirically grounded sense of wonder and interconnection that provides a stable foundation for well-being. The investment, then, is clear, regular time in nature or in nature-inspired environments is a low-cost, high-yield strategy for enhancing nearly every metric of a flourishing life: physical health, mental acuity, emotional stability, social connectedness, and existential peace. It prevents problems before they start and mitigates them when they arise. View it not as a leisure activity, but as essential maintenance for the complex biological system that is you. The evidence is undeniable. The path is clear. But knowledge without action is merely trivia. You now possess the why and the how. What remains is the when. And that brings us to the most important part of this entire video, your personal commitment. The final segment is dedicated to crafting your actionable, personalized plan. I'm not letting you leave with just information. I want you to leave with a blueprint. But to make sure you have all the tools, I need you to do one last thing for yourself. Check the description box below right now. I've put together a comprehensive, free PDF guide that summarizes all these steps, includes a 30-day challenge calendar and lists the best resources for sounds, scents, and biophilic design on a budget. It's my gift to you for making it this far. Download it, and then let's build your plan together in this final stretch. So here we are. We've journeyed from the sensory overload of a glistening tropical forest, through the neuroscience that explains its power, into practical ways to translate that power into your daily life, and onto the mountain of long-term data proving its transformative impact. Now, it's time to bridge the gap between intention and action. This is your personal call to arms, or rather a call to stillness, to connection, to deliberate rewilding of your own life. Let's build your plan, right now as you watch. First, we start with an audit. Pause for a moment and assess your current environment and habits. On a scale of 1 to 10, how natural is your daily sensory diet? How much of your day is spent under fluorescent lights, listening to mechanical noise, breathing recycled air, and looking at rectangular screens? Be honest with that judgment. This is your baseline. Next, we set SMART goal-specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It must be laughably small to start. Do not say, I will spend 2 hours in the park every day. That will fail. Instead, your first goal could be, this week, I will spend 15 minutes in my local green space on Tuesday and Thursday during my lunch break. I will leave my phone in my bag and simply walk slowly, noticing 3 specific natural things. That's specific, measurable, 15 minutes twice, achievable, relevant, direct nature contact, and time-bound this week. Your second goal could be environmental. By Sunday, I will set up a small nature corner on my desk with 1 plant, a downloaded rainforest soundscape playlist bookmarked, and a small diffuser with cedarwood oil to use for 1 hour during my focused work time. These micro-actions are the seeds. Your action plan must be layered, addressing the different channels we've discussed. For the auditory channel, bookmark 1 high-quality nature sound resource today. For the visual, change your computer desktop wallpaper to a high-resolution forest image before you shut down today. For olfactory, order 1 essential oil that reminds you of nature, vetiver, pine, or a ready-made forest blend within the next 48 hours. For the tactile, find 1 natural object, a smooth stone, a pine cone, a piece of driftwood, and place it where you will touch it daily. For the immersive practice, schedule your first 20-minute micro-immersion in your calendar for the coming weekend, treating it with the same non-negotiable status as a doctor's appointment. Accountability is key. Tell 1 person about your plan. Better yet, tell them why. Share a piece of the science that shocked you. Or use the comment section below this video. Write, my first step is your small sip. This public commitment increases follow-through exponentially. I will be reading those comments and cheering you on. Track your progress not in rigid terms of success or failure, but in terms of noticing. Keep a simple journal note on your phone. After your nature break or your session with your nature corner, jot down 1 word about how you feel. Calmer, focused, connected, tired but peaceful. The act of noticing the benefit reinforces the habit. As the Japanese forest therapy guides say, the goal is not distance covered, but sensation experienced. Over time, you will scale these practices. The 15-minute walk might become a 30-minute weekly hike. Your desk corner might inspire a greener, more natural living space. You might plan your next vacation not around a bustling city, but around a national park or a quiet forest retreat. This is a lifelong practice of deepening your relationship with the natural world of which you are an inseparable part. Remember, this is not an add-on to an already overwhelmed life. It is a fundamental recalibration. It is about recognizing that your productivity, your creativity, and your health are not separate from the environment you inhabit. They are products of it. By designing environments both external and internal that align with your biology, you are not avoiding work or responsibility. You are building the foundational capacity from which all effective action springs. You are ensuring that the tool you use to build your life, your own body and mind, is sharp, resilient, and well-maintained. The glistening forest after the rain is more than a beautiful place. It is a mirror reflecting back the conditions in which we thrive, complexity within patterns, constant gentle change, deep interconnection, and cycles of challenge and renewal. It is a model for a life well lived. Your journey starts not when you book an expensive trip, but with your very next breath. Breathe in and imagine it is that iron-rich, petroladen air. Breathe out and release the noise you don't need. This is your moment. The information is yours. The plan is sketched. The only thing standing between your current state and a more resilient, focused, and vibrant you is a decision followed by a single, small action. Here is my final, non-negotiable call to action for you. I want you to pause this video right now. Not in 10 minutes, not later today. Now, take out your phone. Open your calendar app and schedule your first 15-minute nature connection session. Label it essential, system reboot, or forest bath appointment. Set the reminder. Do it. This single act, taking less than 30 seconds, is the pivot point. Once you've done that, come back, smash that like button to seal your commitment, and then if you haven't already, subscribe. Because this isn't the end. This is the beginning of a series for you. In the coming weeks, I'll be diving deeper into each of these area soundscapes, biophilic design hacks, the science of awe, and more, providing you with ongoing support and advanced strategies. You are now part of a community choosing to thrive in alignment with nature. But it all starts with that one scheduled appointment. Pause. Schedule it. I'll be right here when you get back. Let's go.